Flight crew, please prepare for takeoff. At this time, I'm going to ask that you fasten your seatbelts.
So concentrated and everything. And I even thought about my channel of concentration and focus. I know that's also in a pulse. It's like this pressure cooker, and then it whistles, and then you can use the energy of it. And then when you take the lid off, then it's gone. So for me to focus and concentrate, if I think back about the moments, how long can I hold my concentration? And sometimes it's just an hour, 2 hours. Maybe when I'm in a very creative mode, I can go for 4 hours, but then I need to do something else, or just, so yeah, I was really pushing myself in that regards as well, is what I noticed. I was pushing my focus and concentration with my right brain.
And then you had the experience of it, like the conscious experience of it. That's so cool. I love that for you.
Yeah,
so cool.
That's the beauty of becoming aware of your own patterns and your own doing, like really observing your thoughts and your movements. It's so funny when you do that, because then at some point you have a choice. I feel that you can start building like the new neural links in your brain.
Yeah, and yeah. And even the experience that you described of freezing,
Yeah.
To have that experience and to feel it, that was really such a gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of it.
Later when I was at home,
yeah,
I was kind of sensing was I really not afraid? Why was I tense during the last part on the track? Was it because I was tired? Was it because, I don't know, my brain was full? Or was it a bit of an anxiety of this new experience and going on such a high speed? And maybe was I taking it too seriously? Or, yeah, I don't know. I kind of expected myself to be a better driver.
No,
on the,
I mean,
on the
think
track.
about it. I mean, you can be fearless and still have fear within an experience, because let's face it, you're going at a high rate of speed in a car that could flip if you, that you could run into something. It could flip. So even though you're fearless and you're moving forward, it's like, it seems natural to me that the whole range of emotion is, or feeling is, still with you, even though you're moving forward in fearlessness, right?
Yeah. At one point, I had a little split second to see how fast I was driving, and it was 170 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
And then you know, at the same time, you kind of already need to hit the brake to go into in a corner, you know, to make a turn. So, yeah.
I want to do 170 kilometers to see the translation. It's 105. Yeah. I've gone 105, 100, you know, not many times over 100, but
well, to be honest, with
on
our
a straightaway.
On a straight way. On a straight way. Sometimes we're a little naughty. So the fastest I ever drove in our car is 260 kilometers per hour.
Oh my God, so that would be what, 100?
I don't know. You're just flying. It's very thrilling. I can remember that. I was like, okay. I didn't do it for too long, but
that's 160. And you know, I don't know if American cars go that fast.
Probably they can, but maybe I don't know how it is in the US with control of the police, and we have a lot of cameras that if you go too fast, you get a ticket.
Oh yeah, I mean, but on the freeway, you know, here we have large expanses of freeway, you know, and I have a little Mercedes convertible, the little 2-door, you know, one. And in Arizona, if I were on the freeway, I had to use cruise control because I would just kind of realize, like, oh hell, I'm like 95. You know, the speed limit is 75 here. I need to slow my roll.
Right.
Put that cruise on because I'm gonna really be launching here momentarily.
It's an awesome feeling, right? When you go that fast, you feel like invincible.
Yeah, it's so funny with that car. I would either go really like we used to live off of this road that was kind of on the border, and it's called the Old Spanish Trail, but it's a trail that, like, in the old days they used to ride their horses over, you know, like, and it's curvy and it's all through all these hills and stuff. And I would find that I would either be like, or I'd be like putting, and like, I'd look in my rearview mirror and I'd have 5 cars behind me, and I'd be like, why are there 5 cars? You know, and I'm going like 35 and, you know, 45 or 50, and I'd be like, they're probably all cursing me. I'm holding up because I would be like, oh, so pretty.
Oh, okay.
You know, like, and
we call that Sunday drivers.
I would either Sunday drive or be speed racer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it depends on what car you're in.
It really does.
Yeah, because I can remember. Yeah, I can remember with I had a really small car. Once it was a Fiat. I believe it's a 600. It's like this. We call it our little cookie cabinet, like this small, just metal vehicle, and it doesn't go that fast. And I wouldn't drive that fast with that car, and I would like be, you know, looking around at the beautiful trees and the animals in the greenlands and such. Yeah. So
funny.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a hell of an experience, and like again, I am still processing. And today I I was so tired. And then it reminded me of my emotional wave.
Yeah. So funny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was a hell of an experience, and like again, I am still processing. And today I was so tired, and then it reminded me of my emotional wave, and I felt like, oh, this is how it feels when my body gets too tired. I feel my emotional wave again, and what it reminded me of what I shared once before I believe it was in one of the pod calls, that my emotional wave depends on how much energy I have in my body. It's for me, it's a signal that I'm too tired and that I need to rest. And maybe even, watching our other video when we talked about the wave and you not liking your wave, I kind of felt like maybe it was a signal, or it is a signal for you as well, that when you're
Yeah.
too tired.
That resonates. That
Yeah.
really resonates when I'm too tired. Because when I'm rested and I'm grounded, I can feel my emotional wave, and I realize, I'm not at emotional clarity yet. I'm not at emotional
Right.
calm yet. And honestly, when I'm rested, it doesn't matter where I am in the emotional wave. I
Right.
can just be with it. I can be like, oh, I still
Right.
have some processing to do. Oh, I still don't have clarity yet. I can just wait. And,
Right.
and then the knowing that I don't have to be thinking about something for my wave to be doing its work. Whether I'm focused on it or not, my wave is still processing.
Right.
It's still running in the background, and honestly, to let go of whatever it is that I'm not clear about is even better. To just let it go and go do something that makes me happy, or
Yeah.
enjoy myself and let my wave do its work.
Yeah, that reminds me of some advice I saw somebody else say when you're in your emotional wave, that you should do something creatively, something like you said that makes you happy, like drawing or I don't know. What I did do was like making I don't know if you can't see it anymore. I created these headlamps or what is it? Yeah, it's like
Lampshades?
lampshade with glitters and flowers on it, and I would do that. And then your wave is kind of being used, is what I'm hearing. The wave is being used. I feel like even the emotional wave can be used for creativity, maybe as a muse.
Yeah, for sure. I write, I'll, do something artistic, or I'll go walk, or I'll read,
Yeah.
or yeah, sometimes I even get it gives me, like you said, it gives you I'll clean something out, I'll straighten something, or I'll reorganize something, or
Yeah.
But there is energy for something, right?
Yeah. That's a funny thing, right? Yeah. Today I only had energy to be like very defensive and very aggressive. There were some things, my husband had some things he was struggling with, and I was like, yeah, just do this and just do that. And I was like, no, my body just didn't want any trouble or hassle. And I was like, yeah, being kind of aggressive in the advice I gave, like just respond like this, but the response were reactive.
Right, because you just wanted it to be over and out of your feel, right?
I wanted to fix it. Yeah.
I had a similar thing this week. I realized that I actually wake up. I'm a person who wakes up happy. Like I wake up happy. I wake up peaceful. I sleep well, and I realized that I don't enjoy it when I wake up, I'm happy, I'm doing my thing, and then because I turn my phone on sleep mode at night, and then when I go to turn my phone on, I realize I don't like it when all of a sudden I'm getting people dump stuff on me.
Right.
You know, like, I want to be in my joy. I don't want to deal with this right now. Like, you know, and then I was laughing at myself. Well, you don't have to turn your phone on. You can just be,
Yeah.
just, you know.
But we feel a kind of obligation to do it, right? Because my husband
Right.
says the same. Then he wakes up in the morning and turns on his phone, and all the things, you know, like you said, come into your field, and immediately the hassle starts. All the
Right.
problems start.
Right.
And I said to him, and then he wants to solve those problems because, you know, he has his own business. And I said, well, if you can't get to the chores that you need to do, because I always remember once a call you did somewhere, and you talked about that if you're not in, you don't feel energy or anything for a particular thing, you just go do something else. And then it would be even faster to do it when you wait for, the clarity or the moment that you feel it's right to do it. So I said to him, well, just turn off your phone so that you can do the things that you love doing. And I remembered your conversation so good, because I said to him, just write down the things that you need to do. And just while you read them through, one of them will give you a response. And you just start with that one.
Right.
Right. So, because then he says, yeah, they always call me and I'm just into something and it sidetracks me and then I can't get anything done. But then I said, well, turn off your phone. But it's so hard these days to turn off your phone, because then you're also turning off the things you do want to see or hear from, right? Because I can't contact him if he turns off his phone.
Right. Right. I get it.
Yeah.
For a long time, well, and I still do this. So as phones progressed over time, like I've had the same phone number since
Me too.
1996, you know, 25 years.
Yeah.
And over the course of having that phone number on my mobile, you know, we had flip phones, we had, you know, and now, but over time, you know, when it went to a smartphone and you could actually have your email on your phone. So at work, they were like, well, I'll email you. And I was like, I don't have work email on my phone. And they're like, what? And I'm like, no, I don't want to be poked by work on my personal phone all day long. I will check my email every day. I will respond. But I was like, I don't want that popping up on my phone all day. I don't want that distraction. And they were like, wow. And I was like, well, you know, choose for yourself.
Yeah.
You want to be poked, you know, I'm poked enough with my personal email. I need, you know, and at that time I was teaching maybe 150 students every 8 to 16 weeks, depending on what schedule I was teaching. And so it was like, no, I don't. No.
Yeah. And did they take your advice?
Some did. Some were like, they didn't even realize they had a choice. You know, they thought they had to. And others were like me. They were like, yeah, I'm not doing that either. It's not for me. And then there were some who were like, oh, I didn't know I could choose that. Let me take that off. And there are other people who don't mind it. They like, you know, they want all of the, you know, that's what fills them up. You know, I guess we thought about it, we could go to need, right? We could go to our motivation. You know, maybe the people with need really want them to, you know, that fuels their tank.
Yeah.
Me with hope, I hope it all works out.
Yeah. That's right. You have the same as me, hope. Yeah. And I was thinking the same with the need, because some people need to feel that they are important. And there's nothing wrong with it. But for us, it's no, I hope you're okay. You're doing fine without me. Yeah.
I actually really love what you did with those videos. I was like, whoa. And the second one for me, the one where we talk about open centers so deeply, I was like, I personally was riveted. I don't know if other people will enjoy it or not, but
who cares?
You know, hearing it again, I was like, oh, wow. And that really pushed me to, let me express it this way. So Phoebe, Phoebe from.
Mm-hmm.
We are in contact. We talk a couple times a month, maybe. And she invited me to join this group that she's in. I think I told you that woman's name, Kim Gould.
Yeah. Yeah, you were going to try her, right? You were going to.
Yeah, so Phoebe had invited me, and there was a free 14 days. And I just kept it up in a tab, and I was like contemplating. Like, I was like, okay, well, something to contemplate. My body will show me the way, I don't have to decide right now, weigh on it. Then she invited me again, and then again. And every time I would look at it on my, I would get to that, I would be like, what's in this tab? And I'd be like, oh yeah. And I looked around, and eventually I was just like, well, let me dig a little bit further. And then when I got to the it's like $45 a month to join. It was a yes, and I had been contemplating it for a couple of weeks. I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a try. So she has a bunch of classes, and the one I'm in right now is her experiment 2. And she's talking about open centers, and she does some analysis that's really amazing. And one of the things I found most exciting was I had looked at, on genetic matrix, you can see what are your personality activations, what are your design activations. And I had asked several people, well, what does this mean? And they had said, it doesn't matter, because you're never one or the other. You're always operating with both. But what Kim Gould shows is that what she talks about is how, I thought this was fascinating. On the design side, the way we actually come to know or experience our design side is through the patterns that we experience in life, that over time we become aware through the actual living of life, that we can't really, through study, come to that. That that might help you as you are living patterns to go, oh yeah. But it's not going to be through the study. It's going to be through the actual living of life. Yeah. And then she did analysis of, she uses famous people in her analyses, which is useful because you know who they are. Yeah. And you can see the points she's making. And she makes a really big difference between an undefined center and an open center. And I'm not quite there yet. In the video I was watching, she actually says, if you want more information, to use, to go to this book. Yeah, I have that one too. Yeah, and then to read the pages on the open centers, and I have, but I feel like I have a lot more, like study to do there, because when I look at my personality and my design, I'm a reflector when I isolate out. So I actually don't have any channel. So like in one of the famous people she did, my design was really similar. The person had head, ajna, and also throat, split definition, single, and then I get the same thing on genetic matrix, which I just helped. So, but in one of her famous person analyses, she was showing how the root emotional solar plexus channel was personality. And so that's what she was aware of. And then on the design screen, the person only had a channel between the head and the ajna. and that was a design channel. And she talked about how over time she had developed the wisdom of her design side. And she actually had some quotes that she pulled from her life and showed how she had, developed over time the wisdom of both that personality combined with the design. And so then I was like, oh, well, but I don't have any channels. So does that mean I require activation by either the planets or the people I'm with? So I have some more research to do.
Yeah.
So then I'm a reflector in the body.
Yeah.
Because I have no activations, no channels.
Right.
I have gates, but no channels. And I have open centers too. So yeah, that's my next, that's where my edge is, and I'm going to be doing
it's
this.
interesting because,
right?
Yeah, because what came up was again the conversation that we videoed. I feel like when you are with your clients and when you're in that reflector mode, I know what a reflector does. It reflects back to you what you are. So if you would be a reflector, I would see myself back in you by your behavior, the way you talk, or what you're mentioning to me. And I'm saying that because of an example I have of my husband who knew a reflector. And his pattern was that if he was with a nice person like my husband, he was always very kind and frivolous and laughing and just a kind being. But when he was with certain other people, he would change as a leaf on a tree, and he would become nasty and even like a little criminal. So looking backwards, they could tell if he was with the wrong people because he would do like criminal things. And when he was with other people, he would be just this perfect human being. So with your soul communication, maybe it's your reflector part that is reflecting back their soul, which is then would be, it's just a hypothetical, would be their personality side. I don't know why I'm saying that, but maybe because you call it soul communication and the soul is the personality side. Because that's the incarnation, is the personality side. And the design side is the DNA side.
And there is soul wisdom in the DNA.
True. And I don't know if I shared this with you before, with Monica from my Launchpad group. I even shared a little thought. I don't know exactly how we came there, but I said, what if we would just follow the design side, our natural beingness? Would it be so that our personality side would just experience what it is here to see and experience?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Because isn't that what Rod's talking about, about
becoming the passenger.
Becoming the passenger and using your strategy and authority, living in your correct environment.
Yeah.
One of the things that she did, she had and Kim Gould, and she had a little exercise and I did it, and it was so for me to be in mine, it's to wait and then wait some more.
Yeah.
Wait and then wait some more.
Yeah, because of your emotional authority and being a projector. Yeah, it's a lot of waiting.
Wait and wait some more.
But then with your cross of consciousness, you can just watch the whole movie play out.
And wait some more.
And wait some more.
Wait some more.
With
And
some
then wait some more.
popcorn.
All the while registering it all. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's fascinating, and I can't help but think that or wonder if we're having this conversation because this is what
Something we're on.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I hit pause on the game,
Okay.
and
And
as soon as I did, I had so much energy,
wow.
so much joy, so much happiness, and a lot of contemplation about how my emotional wave, how I had been pushing through because there was constant pressure for me to produce certain things on other people's timelines. And my body was just like, no, and no.
I love it. I'm seeing your body speaking in my mind.
No more, some more no. How about some more no? No. And there were moments where it was just like pushing to, I'd be like, okay, you can read for an hour and then you got to do that thing. You know, like I was bribing myself. And then there were times where I would get in and I would be like, oh, this is okay. I can do this pretty quickly. It's okay. I want, this is important. But it was the conditioning to, the attempt to condition my field on other people's timelines that I think was the biggest thing that my body was just going, no, I will not be conditioned. No.
Not anymore. And now I know all about these open centers. No, not anymore. That it. Move on.
No. And so after I hit pause, I had a lot of contemplation, and some of my contemplation was about, okay, there's a pattern here. Invitation for group. And how did that first path go? An invitation again. And I really was looking at, okay, how was I different? And what wasn't, what was the same? And so the pattern, like I had marked things that I could be like, you waited, the invitation was genuine, it was light in your body, you waited for the yes. Yes. Another thing that I was really super proud of myself for was that I didn't stuff anything. When things came up, I said my truth in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I asked for what I wanted, I asked questions like,
right.
And so, yay. And when I really understood that there's not recognition of my strategy and authority, and there's not even an attempt when I try to, not explain, but share, okay, I get how you work. I received that, and this is how my field works.
Right.
No honoring that of the difference. And that really empowered me to be like, no, I don't need to be conditioned. This isn't fun. I'm not going to choose. I can choose something different.
Yeah.
And then the reflection on where I still have growth, right? Is that I really truly understand that what I love about working with a team is, it ties to my 4-6, right?
Yeah.
Being with people, being in teamwork, being in synarchy, communicating with transparency, vulnerability, honesty, integrity. These are all things, toward a shared goal that we all believe in. This lights me up. I love it.
Yeah.
And when any of those parts break down, I have the courage to face them.
Right.
And I realized that I work at part of my gift is grounding in the structure, is grounding in the overarching organization, how the pieces and parts work together. And if that's not the level of contribution that is desired from me, then it's not in alignment, because I'm not here to generate on other people's timelines.
You're here to guide us.
Right. And so if I ever get invited again in terms of a group, and I wait some more, and it's yes and yes, then before I do anything, it's to have the courage to say, listen, I'm a guide.
Right.
I'm here to share wisdom.
Right.
I work at this kind of global level. And what I do realize about myself is that when I'm involved at that global level, I actually have energy sometimes to execute parts of that.
Yeah.
When I'm not involved at that global level, I have no energy for execution of any part of it. My body just is like, no, you're not here to be somebody's worker bee. You're here to guide. This is not guiding. Don't.
Yeah.
So it would be incumbent upon me, if I have another invitation, to continue to build on all the things that I learned and didn't, the patterns that I became correct.
Right. Right.
And then now there's this other piece, which is really stepping into my own light.
Yeah.
And not, being unwilling to dim my light because somebody else has, because in synarchy, I feel like synarchy, through my contemplation, it takes humility. Synarchy is and humbleness to understand you have genius, but everybody else has genius. Mm-hmm. And your genius is not more important than theirs, and theirs is not more important than yours. What makes all the genius work is the honoring of the genius that needs to happen in a particular moment.
Yeah, it's the sum of its parts.
It is.
Yeah.
And that I feel like what life is showing me, if we take, what my design is showing me by living it, is that I'm here to be a role model in synarchy, in integrity, in consciousness. And
wow, that's so huge. And you're totally speaking my language. I hear the 31 and my 45. And what came to me also were the nodes, which I have the 45 and the 26 in my design.
Right.
And wow, what an insight you have about what your true role here is and what you have been doing all along in the past, kind of trying to prove by doing.
Right.
And now finally coming to the realization that you are here to guide us generators when it's time to do something, when it's time to take a break, when something in the field is off, and so many things just wow.
And to be honest about our own and each other's value.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying the humility part, because yeah,
totally. I've been speaking about, that's why I hear my 31 and my 45 in your sharing, because I'm trying to explain that each time when I'm in a group, that's my deepest passion, is together, where people all know, not totally know, because we can't know until we're probably dead, but know what our unique role is to the wholeness of everything. So when we come together, I know my part, I know my skills, my traits, my assets, what I can offer and what I cannot. And then the other person has all the other qualities, which are, summoning. It's like these all pluses. And I'm trying to explain it. And then, my latest experience was that a lot of people still put other people on pedestals and put themselves down. And then the person who is on the pedestal, they have to say, but you're equal to me. Look at all the things that you have, and they still can't hear you. And that way people stay at a position that they're not supposed to be. And the position that needs to be filled is not getting filled, and the project is not getting done. And that's so sad to me.
Yeah, and the efficiency, effectiveness of the whole team is adversely affected.
Exactly. Yeah.
When
I want to take your...
any of us are not valuing our roles and our genius, and or not valuing others, the whole process just is not efficient or effective. And that's part of what I'm here to be wise about. And so the liberation of that has been amazing. And there's still pieces and parts that are in process of exiting. And this was one thing that was like kind of spectacularly beautiful to me. The morning because I was in my strategy and my authority, waited, contemplated, drafted, waited, refused to move forward, wrote, processed, waited. And so I was really, my emotional wave and the divine timing of things, has been very powerful for me in this, and really honoring that. And the day I hit send on the email about pausing, within like an hour and a half, I got this other message. And it was kind of the exact contrast. So I had a friend who had written a children's book and had asked me to read it. And when I opened it, I knew it needed some editing, which is, one of the things I do. So instead of just doing it, I just sent her a message and I said, hey, getting ready to read, and what would you like from me? Do you want me to just read your book and honor that? Or were you looking for feedback or editing? Or what is it that you would like? And she was like, oh my gosh, I would love for you to edit, but I didn't dare ask. And I was like, I want my friend to succeed, right? So I edited it. And, when I sent it back, it was all track changes, so she could choose what she liked or didn't like. And then when I sent it back, I said, listen, I put my heart into this, but please know, these are all suggestions. This is your creation. Take what you want and let go of the other stuff and don't even worry about it. You know, you do you.
Yeah.
And, you know, just know my heart was intending to support you on your journey to success with this. So that morning, about an hour after I hit the pause email, hit the button on, I get this WhatsApp message. And it was very excited. And hey, can we talk? And I was like, yeah, sure. I'm here. I'm working. Just, you know. So she called me and she was like, oh my God, you made my book so much better. The characters came to life. It is so much stronger with what you contributed. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad you love it. Happy for you. I just want you to succeed. And she was like, well, this is an imbalance and I need to, you know, I need to operate in balance. And I said, okay, but please know, I just did it from the love of my heart, you know, want you to succeed. And so then she was like, well, how about co-creator? Would you like to be listed as co-creator? And I was like, not asking for it. I will receive it. How lovely. And, you know, she insisted. And so, you know, there I am like, oh my God, here's a complete contrast
Right.
to the other scenario that I'm in.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the call, she was like, you know, I already have hired the graphic designer and have my financial arrangement, you know, set forth. But I really feel like it needs to be more. How about 5%? And I said, again, wasn't my motivation, but I will gladly receive the gift from the universe. But you need to just make sure that's what you want to do and it's in balance. Because it's absolutely in balance. And I couldn't live with myself if I didn't honor your contributions. And I was like, okay, this is the universe saying, see?
See? You don't have to do. do. Wow. You just have to guide. Yeah. Because that's what you did. You guided her book.
Right. You know, and it was so, you know, like it was actually really easy for me. Right. Because as I was reading, I really got the characters. It was just a few, you know, a little tweak word here, a little, you know, structure there. She had all the pieces and parts, right? I just helped her, you know, kind of bring out what she was already, you know, doing, but maybe in a little more powerful way. And I was just so grateful because, you know what, if nothing happens, right? The universe showed me this is an integrity. Wow. This is a collaboration in integrity. This is synarchy.
Right.
Right.
And did it happen in the week that the 1 and the 2 were activated?
Oh, remind me of those dates and I'll tell you.
I believe it was, no, okay, let me check, not believe, but let me check, fact check. Because this is so interesting. That was like in the week of 5th November 5th.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
What a wisdom came through in your open center with that 1 and that 2. Because the universe got your back. It's support. K2 is about support, about being able to receive support. I have that in my SQ, the 2.3, but in an open G. And oh boy, did I always think I had to do everything by myself. I really have to step back like you did to surrender and trust that the universe has got your back. And the universe showed you she's got your back. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even like have to do anything except for be present.
Yeah, and to give from your heart, which is the other side of the 26, which is the you know, the other side of the 44. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just really, and that in my emotional way felt so, it was, in the experiment, if you will,
Yeah. In the
right?
adventure of your 35.
In the adventure of my 35, because even when my friend sent me the book to, she asked me to read it, I said, I will do this as soon as I can.
Yeah.
Because in the moment I didn't have the energy for it. But
Right.
when the energy came up, and I didn't have to like prove or defend, I didn't have to give it. She was just like, whenever you can. Like, she was totally receiving of my knowing of when to move forward. And so when the day came that I was like, oh, read the book, I was like, oh yeah, I could do that right now. That feels good. And I open it up, and then I'm like, oh, what is, before you just do and guide without the invitation, ask the question, what is it that you want? And then give her what she wants, Simone.
Yeah.
Because you have the energy to give her what she wants. So what does she want? Ask the questions. So I asked the questions, and she was clear what she wanted.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
I even feel that Toltec wisdom coming through with that one. Don't make assumptions. And it's the power of that 63 to ask those questions. And I see where the communication gets wrong when people don't ask questions. I can see that with my husband. I just say, why don't you just ask? And you gave a perfect example for you as a projector. Just ask where the invitation is for. And I was hearing that you waited for your flow. And we talked so much in the other conversation about me talking about my flow, but now I'm hearing you talking about your flow, which for me now I'm kind of linking, maybe you agree or not, that it's the emotional wave, the creativity is that flow you have to wait for.
Right. And it was just kind of effortless, it was like when I didn't say, when I didn't give, I'll do that as soon as possible. I think I've said, okay, when I will, when I can, like I didn't put any pressure on myself.
Right.
Just trusting. And I really wasn't even thinking about it. It just kind of popped up, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I haven't done that yet. I'd like to do that right now.
Yeah.
It's just effortless.
Wow.
And I think that's part of, maybe it's because we've been mining the information in the field on open centers, mining our own wisdom about open centers, collaborating in synarchy about open centers, undefined centers, defined centers. And maybe because of that, the living of it has suddenly taken on an effortlessness.
Yeah.
And certainly contrast where things are effortless and things are not effortless.
Yeah. And even
and it may have to do, some of this, I've wondered if it had to do with the eclipse that we just had, and the things in your life that we had this opportunity with the last eclipse to, the things that just fall away.
Yeah.
And then how much grace can we allow those things to fall away with?
Yeah. Wow, this is huge.
I think so. I mean, I feel it in my field.
Absolutely.
And
you silent me, so it's huge. If I have nothing to say, then I'm blown away. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And then just watching how much enjoyment and honestly energy, because I'm not the morning person. I usually am up, even when I'm in the projector strategy of going to my room before I'm tired, lying down, reading or doing something, lying down, letting what I've collected over the day flow out of my field. Even when I do that, it's still, I'm kind of a night owl, and but I've been waking up early, like you know, that's my favorite thing, is to not have an alarm clock and to just awaken naturally. But, you know, sometimes I have appointments, so I'll set an alarm hoping that I'll be up before it. But I have been in these last 2 weeks, like,
Wow.
and I've been noticing, wow, that's interesting how much energy you have available to you.
Yeah. How much you have freed up.
Mm-hmm.
How much you have emptied maybe those conditions in these open centers by us going so deep into our contemplations and just sharing our truth. You know, there's a lot of truth out there and everything is truth, but what is true for you came through. Yeah. Wow.
And then I love that one of the case studies, if you will, that Kim Gold is doing is on Serena Williams, who is also a projector. So we have this projector who's this huge athlete.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Look at how much energy.
Yeah. Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And then contemplating on that, you know, in my younger life, I danced, I was a gymnast, I was on a gymnastics team, I danced 3 or 4 days a week, I was a cheerleader, I rode my bike a lot, I played tennis, I ran. I had a lot of access to energy.
Yeah, but it reminds me of that the solar plexus is a motor. It's just not the sacral. Right. And even if maybe Serena has maybe, I don't know her chart, but if she has like maybe the solar plexus defined and maybe, or the will center defined, the ego center, these are both little motors. So they have energy, only not as long as a sacral.
Yeah, no, she has ajna, maybe throat, I think.
Okay. You don't have a chart?
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna. I pulled it up. I'm gonna. Do you want me to send you a link or?
Can you screen share?
Yeah.
Multiple participants. Yeah. Now you can, because I would like to see now. I'm so curious. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
No motor.
Yeah.
How did she do that?
Well, the throat is a motor, right?
No.
Okay. Root, solar plexus, ego,
Sacral.
Those are the 4. Yeah. No, she does not have the throat is the manifester. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, she has the same cross as my daughter.
Wow.
But my daughter is a generator, but okay.
Yeah, and this analysis says as long as she remains clear in her own perceptions of others, she can remain triumphant on the court and off.
Wow.
The moment she identifies personally with other people's concerns, she immediately loses her way and her ability to succeed. That's interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would like to receive the link as well, but I wanted to see it. Yeah, I just wanted to see it because it was, oh, wow. That gives a whole new dimension to what they say about projectors not having the generated energy, but it doesn't mean they can be physically very active, but they just have to watch to not overextend themselves, I feel.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get back. I'm going to send you, I mean, you can just Google it. I can send you that link, but I just Googled Serena Williams human design chart. Okay. And that you know, there were a bunch of links, but, you know, so that has, I've always thought of myself as a person who had energy.
Yeah. You do, of course, because of when it feels right and when it makes you happy and joy.
Right.
Then the solar plexus is activated and you have access to energy, just not as long as a sacral being.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, and the fact that we have, you know, there's so many definitions, like, you know, or authorities, I think is a better way. You know, as a projector, you can be emotional, you can be splenic,
Yeah.
mental, ego, or self-projected. I think those are the
Yeah.
5. So there's 5 ways to be a projector.
Yeah.
And all of those ways have layers in them. And then layer onto that your cross of consciousness, your line numbers, your moon, your environment,
Yeah.
the people in your life, where the sun is, you know, what activations are there in your personality. You know, like, there's just so much to say that projectors don't have energy, I think, is false. It's just not true. And I feel like when I came into this study, really listening to so many projectors say, oh, I just don't have energy. Now I'm wondering, is it that you don't have energy, or you're not aligned with the thing that your body wants to have energy for?
Yeah, true. Yeah. I even have an example of my hairdresser, because I gave it to her as a gift because she did something for me. I needed like immediate assistance and she helped me out. And so I said to her, why don't I do your chart and just give you not a complete book, but just to start so you can start reading, because I was, you know, during our talks of the last couple of years, I gave her so much advice about stuff, and I was sensing on what type she would be. And so I did her chart, and she was a projector, but she did have the will center, the root, and I believe even the spleen. Yeah, just not the sacral, not the solar plexus and such. And I started laughing when I saw it, because she is like this. Oh, how can I explain her? She's like a generator on overdrive or on amphetamines or something.
Yeah. Got a lot of energy.
She has a lot of energy. But I also see a nervousness with her. And maybe that's because she's around generators, that she gets kind of in the overdrive. But then I went into her design. Well, she is made for that. She started as a one-person business. That's how I knew her. And then at some point she said to me, wow, I think I want to go bigger and do this and that. I said, yeah, why not? You know? And so she now has like 5 people working for her. But it's the managing stuff that gets too much for her. And my advice for her already was, well, I feel like you're not here to do the hairdressing just for yourself. Just do the things that you love doing, and then just manage your team and take more days off. So when her design came out, it really said that she is here to innovate the business that she is in, that she is here to manage, like not only by projector, but only with the things that she had. And so I said to her, well, she said, well, it's kind of abracadabra for me, what you sent me. I said, I know, because it's just like just to give you a little taste. And then when we get together and talk about it, and then you go back to the book, then you go like, oh, then it makes sense. But it's just as a reference. You have the book as a reference after our conversation. I said, but the funny thing is, when I was creating it, I said, I was reading what you were already doing, but you just have to fine tune it. So you have to redirect your role in your own business. And yeah, but the funny thing is, it's why I mentioned it is because of the energy part.
Yeah, I mean, so now I'm contemplating that. Oh, is that why I've been so happy for these 2 weeks? Because I'm direct, you know, I have access to energy, and now I'm directing it to things that bring me joy. And so my body's like, yeah, I'll have some more of that. Yeah. Let's go, you know?
Yeah.
So I find it, really a fascinating part of the conversation about projectors that we're not, none, I think what I love about, I think our conversation parallels the conversation that Kim Gould is hosting, because it's looking at design not only as an experiment, but as a complexly layered experiment. We're not all just one thing. Somebody's not just a generator, a manifesting generator, or a project, whatever. And we all have our strategy and our authority. Yes, that's the entry point. But there are all these other things that are layered and contributing. And it's the whole fabric. It's great that you might understand one kind of yarn that's a thread in the weave, but if you don't know all the other threads and yarns, you don't really have the full picture. And then, to have the conversation of understanding the weave, for me, I feel like that's so valuable. That's why I'm behind, you doing the videos, because it's not that we have the answers, it's that we're actively engaged in the experiment.
Yeah. So we both have that. It's funny.
Yeah. And then now that you say that, I'm like, okay, ego's a motor center, sacral's a motor center. So
yeah. Solar plexus is a motor too.
Right. Solar plexus. And then you have a manifester.
Manifesting channel. That's why I'm a manifesting generator, because of the 35, 36. Yeah.
Yes, so I'm also in my contemplation, I'm contemplating the moon in my life in a new way. Because at 40 points.
Found out. What have you found out so far then about the moon or your moon?
I did a whole, I'm not, clearly haven't integrated it because I haven't, I'm drawing a blank as you asked me that question, but going back to see if I can find it in my notes.
I have my personality moon, the 33.2. I have it in Leo in the 12th house, which was funny because I have the 31.1 in the 12th house Leo as well. So I did a contemplation on that one too, on different papers, because that 12th house was kind of interesting to me. So, and here it says, moon in the 12th house makes the native very sensitive to people's opinion and easily hurt by an unkind and unappreciative word. At times, this may turn into a certain unsociability, never, however, of long duration, because his love of life and desire for harmonious society is too strong to allow him to seclude himself entirely. The feelings have always a flavor of having been kept in the background, and therefore a somewhat self-pitying attitude results. By practicing contentment, inner power's latent faculty will best be able to develop harmoniously. This makes it also possible to apply practically in daily life what has been learned in solitude or through suffering. And the 33 is about retreat. So it was funny how the 12th house Leo made that connection to the 33 of retreat and mindfulness. I believe mindful is the gift. And I don't know what the city is. It's in the 64 doors. It is the medicine woman. Oh, it's forgetting, mindfulness, and revelation.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I feel together with that 40 that I have in my IQ, I love it to be alone. And even like with yesterday, like a day as yesterday with the BMW experience, I just need to retreat and reflect back on the conversations that I had. Because, for example, at one point, I was with this older man in the car most of the time, and I couldn't focus and concentrate because it was like, chatting and what are you doing? What do you do? And and I was like, I'm driving here, but I want to be kind. So at some point I asked him if I could drive alone. And then at some point he said, I want to sit with you. I want to see how it is to sit next to somebody, doing that thing. And I just funnily said, like, if you can just, not say anything. Not help but not say it,
What did he say?
And I said, it's not personal. He laughed and he said, no, I can do that. And then at some point I started talking to him. He said, I promised I wouldn't say anything. And I was like, yeah. So I really appreciate it. But still now I feel a little bit like, why did I say that? Why did I say to this lovely man, older man, who has a huge company of making furniture? It's not this, dodo. And I just said to him, if you just keep quiet or not say anything. Why did I say that? But I need to.
Because it was what you needed, or you felt you needed in the moment. There's nothing wrong with that. And he heard you, like he actually received you.
Yeah.
So, like I'm wondering when he said, well, could you have said to him, I really needed quiet to focus, but now I realize I'm comfortable now. I can actually hold a little more.
I later said to him that I felt like I couldn't focus if I was social. And he said, no, I understand. He said, I understand. So he was taking it very good, and I did say it in a nice way and with making a little joke out of it and pointing it towards me, that it was me, and not him. And it was not about him. But I'm still processing all the little conversations that I had. And like I shared in the beginning, of all the impressions that I had. And then I really have to retreat. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I wonder if I don't know how to phrase the question, but here's what's the contemplation is that I wonder if it has to do with the emotional way that in situations like that, it's challenging to be, hey, Jingle. I think about what you just went through a lot, because I feel myself when I'm in a face-to-face situation and there feels like pressure, I don't feel like that's my forte. Like it's sometimes challenging and I feel awkward sometimes. Like I know what I want and I know there's a really great way to say it.
But it doesn't come out that way.
It comes out where my 4 planets are inside. Like
But maybe that's because of your aura. If you say something, it like beams into somebody. Maybe that's the difference. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I've wondered if that, because I feel like when when something comes up, I need to wait and I need to process and I'm allowing myself that, in the moment, I don't have splenic awareness. I don't have sacral awareness. Those are undefined centers for me. But yeah, so sometimes I need time to process, and then I'll process and I'll write it down, and then but there've been so many times where something happens like and then I'll walk away and I'm like, oh, why didn't I just say this? And then I've started to contemplate, I wonder if that has something to do with the emotional wave, because in the moment it's hard, and you have, but you do also have access to a defined sacral. I actually really loved what you did. Your contemplation was inspiring. I loved that you went to Leo in the 12th house. Because again, that brought depth to your contemplation.
Yeah.
Real depth. It was really powerful for me to hear you read that, for your sharing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And for me, it is, I feel when you go beyond the activation, like you said, well, I'm interested in the moon, then you have to take a little bit of astrology with it, because the moon, and then the thing is, which is activating the moon, gives a flavor to the reflection of the moon. Because I'm seeing that light shining on the moon, but if there's this, I don't know, it sounds stupid, but I'm just gonna say it. If this Leo is in front of in the moon, you see the little, Leo reflection in that moon, it's gonna give another flavor, and where it is seated in which house, yeah, it gives another ebb and flow. I want to say an ebb and flow towards what the moon's energy is gonna do as an archetype within you.
This is really powerful. Thank you so much. I would not have really related to my moon 40.3 being in Virgo. But, some traits of Virgo: humble, self-effacing. I am humble. I mean, that's I think part of why I was the guide on the side in my classroom.
Right.
The success of the whole is generally more important to me than just, that's why I like teamwork, and synarchy. And I'm super pragmatic.
Yeah, that's Virgo. I'm a Virgo. I was born in September. I'm a Virgo.
So with
Virgo is mental and practical. So that,
that's, and then with the line 3, the full range of experience.
Yeah. And then the 40 in the wheel center, it's also, the funny thing is I felt a resonance between that 33 and that retreat, because the 40 has a similar thing. It's about surrendering. It's about finally surrendering to divine will and not your personal will. And having that in your moon. Yeah. I don't know, but I feel there's a similarity, like a same, but different. I don't know if you're sensing it too.
No, totally. Definitely some themes. It's powerful that it is the gate of aloneness.
Yeah.
Because I'm very content to be on my own. Like, I'm a person who'll go eat by herself. I'll go on a hike by myself. I'll go to a movie by myself. I'm never bored. If I have to be somewhere and there's a wait, I always have a book on my phone. If I have a book, I'm never alone.
Right.
I'm always entertaining myself.
Yeah.
And I think one of the themes of the 40 that Richard points out is that we have to let others know where our boundaries lie and how much they're willing to give of themselves, as well as what they can expect in return. I think that clarity and communicating that clarity is probably an edge for me. It's something
I resonate with that. Yeah. I have it in an open one too. So yeah, we're kind of same in it, only with a different planet, because for me, I believe it's the Mars design.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right. Yeah.
This is interesting. I'm looking at Richard's
It's because of your background that it doesn't show. The circuitry book?
Yeah, I'm looking at
I have that one too. I can look it up.
Mm-hmm. And he says the 40, this ties, I'm bringing it back in because it ties to something I said to you at the beginning of our call. The 40 needs to be massaged by the understanding and loyalty of the 37 in order to get to work.
And it brings it back to you saying, I don't have to do anymore.
Yeah. And if I'm not appreciated, if there's no understanding and loyalty, my body's like, no, I'm not getting to work. No, you don't have the energy for that. No.
Right.
If the bargain is clear, the 37 will always accommodate the 40's need for aloneness and rest while supporting them during the process. I love that part where he says, if the bargain is clear, because that's my next edge. If I'm ever invited again, and I've waited for the invitation, and I've waited to see if it's correct in my emotional way, it's to make sure the bargain is clear.
Yeah.
So maybe this, I've been thinking about my moon over the last 2 weeks. And so through your wisdom of and genius of tying in the layer of the Virgo, where is it in your chart astrologically with this? I feel like I have.
It gives a little more of a stage where it's how it's operating, where it's operating. So then you can relate it to real life, like you were just doing. And I feel like your last insight about, the game on pause and then the other thing happening. I'm sensing in that you're tapping into that field of, is it the right bargain for me to get to work? Because it doesn't feel like work.
Right.
Because for me, then at least, because I have that 26 twice in an open ego, and then you having that 44, which is about selling from the heart. The 26 is about selling from the heart, which means for me, I feel like that 40, if it's the right bargain, it can just sell or produce from its heart.
Wow. And then when you do that, when you're just producing from your heart, that's what sells, or is the service to
Well, take these videos for example. I created that out of fun, joy, the love for our conversations,
and it's if we think about the line 4 of us, because we both have that line 4,
being of service in that way. Yeah.
Because implied is all the community who actually wants to sit with us in this conversation.
Right.
Yeah. And then the 14, my personality moon, 14/6, is in Scorpio.
Wow.
And it's like 1 degree out of Sag. It's like the last place you can be and still be in Scorpio. So it's really push, it's already in the Sagittarian energy, but with the
14/6, let me book ahead.
Richard talks about the 14 is people whose creative potential lies in loving the work they do. Woo!
Boink. And here in my book, it says 14.6, right?
Yeah.
It says being worthy. Existence gives resources and blessings to whomever it chooses. With an explanation, yeah. A spiritual and or material approach to the responsibilities associated with wealth. from this.
That is, is that Cheaton Parkin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the Book of Lines. I'll go look at that.
I love this book.
I do too. Even read the line 40.3.
40.3, being whole. Matching your lifestyle with your unruffled inner being. If you make a display of ego willpower, you easily attract problematic company and situations. Boom! You know what I love is that because of our conversations, these short texts come alive. If you just read them without being able to relate them to your own storyline, without contemplating, it's just a line and you go like, ah, but now it makes sense.
In context, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
I also love that Richard says the 14 always needs the 2 in order to give it a viable direction. And this is what you were talking about earlier in our call about the 2 being activated when all that, when the positive or the create something greater example of integrity in synarchy. The 14 alone is the pure potential to keep working, but without the presence of the 2, these people can get caught into working endlessly with no real sense of where they are going. This is also the gate of slavery.
Mm. And the funny thing is I have the 2 and then you have the 14. So together we have the channel. And I feel like what's keeping us then in balance is that we both wait for that emotional flow, that creative flow. And I love the doing. So if you like what I'm doing, then we have something to
I mean, seriously. But the thing about you is that, I think it goes back to synarchy for me, or the 44, is that you say, if you like what I'm doing, yeah. But the thing about what you do is that it's so line 6. It's so all encompassing. I'm like, my hypothesis is someone would be hard pressed to not find something in what you're doing to connect to, It's so, and I realize that's because of our electromagnetics, but it's true. Like you do so much and you have access to so much. I can pull out anything that I'm interested in. I toss it out there and it's like we're playing we're running in we're in a relay. We're constantly just handing the baton back and forth.
Where's Serena Williams and her sister?
Right.
Playing tennis. Because I feel like, especially like when you started, it was like you just captured the essence. Because that is what I do. That is
right.
that kind of, I don't want to use the word psychology, but it is a kind of like deep psychology what I'm sensing when I'm talking to people. It's like I'm piercing through their veil. And I'm not afraid to address it. And I can get like, what's the word, backlash for it? Because then she knew I was just talking truth from my heart and not just giving like, or pointing a finger or making her wrong or whatever. I was reflecting back the pattern, which was the thing that was holding her back from being the great mother that she wants to be and is, but only those few little threads, like in your words, needed to be pulled out of it because they were making the geometry wrong.
Right. She wasn't ready to receive her own divinity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes we're not, right?
I'm not. Yeah, maybe I'm not right. I'm just picking up, like you, sometimes what's in the field or what's coming in, maybe even in my open centers or in my awareness or.
So line 6 being.
Yeah.
So
it's
line
seeing beyond. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then having that 63.6 in my culture. because I feel there's something there that I can see the truth, like you always say, the truth of who you are. I'm not afraid to address the truth that is in front of me. But that sometimes can mean that you're being rejected, because that sixth line is not always, like you said, not always being received.
Yep.
But I can't help myself. I cannot lie.
Right.
I can be nice, but I cannot lie. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just zip it, but if you're one-on-one on me and you're talking what you're talking to me, then you're asking for a response, and you're gonna get it if you like it or not.
Right. I mean, I think we discern sometimes and sometimes not. Is it worth it? Is it divine timing? Is, you know, but when our come from, I was reading that about somewhere this week. It was either in Kim Gould's class or in Raw Richard or Raw, that when our come from is grounded in the truth of who we are, there's a higher likelihood that people can receive it. But ultimately, whether they receive it, the wisdom or not, is
It's not up to me.
You know, a
Yeah, I get it.
configuration of where they are.
Right. Yeah.
And
But
it might be
it's my duty. It's our duty to at least address it, right?
Right. Because in that moment, maybe they can't, but maybe, you know, 2 weeks from now or the next day, they're going to be driving alone and it'll all
Exactly.
lock
It's planting
in.
that seed. That's
Yeah.
how I feel.
Yeah.
And yeah, because why I bring this up is because I suddenly was reminded of when I was with my healer Friday. He said it's all about, how did he put it to words? If you're talking truth, your truth, it doesn't matter what you say, but that truth is being received. And if you have like self-doubt within your truth, that's what people are going to hear. And it was something I shared with him about what my husband was having little trouble with within his team. And I always say, like, you have to do this, or I would do this, or, you know, but, and then I reflect to him, well, I feel that you are hesitating in what you are saying because you are taking, or you're making assumptions that this person cannot receive what you are trying to say if you say it like you want to say it. But therefore, there is a non-truth within your communication, and that's what they are picking up. Am I making any sense? I'm trying to.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Their shit detector or their Scooby ear is going.
Yeah.
And they're more focused on the than it is the truth, because they're like, something's not right here. What is the thing that's not right here as opposed to what is right here?
Right. Yeah.
I'm on guard. I'm awake. Something's happening that I don't like, you know, so yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.